So we all know what it's like. For some women, we meet a man, we fall in love, have our first kiss, and after a while, things start to get a little serious, and sex comes into the equation. Sex may be enjoyable, but it entails a lot of responsibility, and the outcome of sex can result sometimes in emotional distress and an unwanted pregnancy. And with an unwanted pregnancy, sometimes women can undergo an abortion because they aren't ready to be parents right at that point in their lives. So what can we do to prevent unwanted pregnancies and still enjoy sex? For some, their choice is staying abstinent, which means they will refrain from having sex for a period of time until marriage, or for their entire lives. With staying abstinent, there's no way of ever getting pregnant, no chances of sexual transmitted diseases, and no emotional or physical ties to anyone. However, for most people, that is not the way to go. So how can you have sex without getting pregnant? There are many different options. Male condoms have an 85% success rate. An IUD, an intrauterine device, has a success rate at almost 100%. However, it needs to be surgically placed and removed, which is unappealing to most people. Female condoms have a 79% success rate. Cervical caps have an 8% success rate in women who have children, and an 84% success rate in women without children. A new ring has a 92% success rate. A subdermal implant has an 80% success rate. This is typically placed into the upper part of your arm to increase estrogen levels in a woman's body. Contraceptive injections, typically known as Depo-Provera, and has a 97% success rate. Fertility awareness method entails the tracking of your 3-day ovulation period and refraining from sex for those 3 days, and that has a 75% success rate. Women also do this to get pregnant when they're having a hard time conceiving. Basic birth control pills have a 92% success rate, and the withdrawal method has a 73% success rate. There are very many other forms of birth control methods apart from these. Even after you have possibly tried every birth control method out there, life doesn't always go as planned. The condom may break, or you may forget to take your birth control. We all need to keep in mind that life happens and we are all human. Surprise pregnancies can and may occur within and out of marriage, with a person you've only known for a couple hours and with a person for 20 years. Having an abortion to remove an unwanted pregnancy is the wanted opinion for most people. However, I would like to discuss the other options. What can you do with an unwanted pregnancy apart from having an abortion? An option is to keep the child and live with the fact that you made a mistake, but you're taking on the responsibility for your actions. Another option could be potential adoption. Adoption, however, is extremely expensive and it is extremely time-consuming on the adopter's part. Another option is private adoption. This entails a process in which you would find a couple who have not been able to conceive on their own or who just want to adopt another child, which is a quicker process and a less expensive way of the basic adoption process. Lastly, foster care is also an option some people take. Foster care is a system in which a minor has been placed into a ward, group home, or private home of a state-certified caregiver referred to as a foster parent. The placement of a child is normally arranged through the government or social service agency. Sex creates great physical pleasure, but it also creates great potential of life. In this animation of a fetus, it is in its mother's womb at 20 weeks. This is a premature baby at 20 weeks. New statistics have surfaced, claiming that premature babies born at 20 weeks and higher have a higher chance of survival than ever before. This is called viability. Viability is the increased chance of fetus's survival outside of the womb. If doctors can increase the viability of a 20-week-old premature baby, does a 20-week premature child's life have more value than a 20-week fetus in the mother's womb? About 1.5 million women in the United States are infertile, and about 7% of men are sterile. But the sterile men cause about 70% of infertility. Life doesn't come with an instruction manual. Sometimes couples are unable to have a child through bad ovum or sterile sperm. Sometimes regular adoption is too expensive and an extremely time-consuming process. Someday, if you become pregnant, you may be able to give joy to a family by letting them adopt your child that you might not just be ready to take care of just yet. In cases of illness and rape and other extreme circumstances, ending a fetal life is highly considered. Those are not the topics I would like to include in my generalization of unwanted pregnancies or pregnancy prevention. Becoming pregnant is highly avoidable, and if it happens, can be a great joy to some people, even if it's not you. I urge you all to look into your very many options before considering to have sex. and what you should do when you are faced with an unwanted pregnancy.